and say, hi, this is TK Kuegler. I am the founder and managing partner of Wasabi Ventures Stables. Tonight, we're doing a webinar that I think is going to be really interesting, and I think the crowd thinks so too, because we have a little larger crowd than we normally get for some of our webinars. But tonight, I think I'm going to show, for those of you who have never been a part of racing before, or been a part of on the ownership side of racing, I'm going to give you a glimpse that you probably will have never seen. And as always, we try to be transparent and honest and give you data that others may not. And so I'm going to show you soup to nuts, sort of how the financial side of ownership works. And then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about how Wasabi Ventures Stables works, and it works the financial aspects, but I'm actually going to start at the very highest level and work from there. And so without further ado, I'll jump in. If you are, and I'm going to concentrate tonight, just so everyone knows, we'll do a different session about broodmares and breeding. Tonight's session is 100% about racing horses. So this is only about horses who are currently in training and not breeding, not stallions, nothing else. So if you are an owner of a racehorse, like any other business, there are two aspects of the business. There are revenues, the money that comes in, and there are expenses, the money that goes out. And the profit that you see comes from the delta of those two. Very simple, sort of capitalist 101, if you will, there. So on the revenue side of racing, there are two, and really only two ways to earn money. The first way is purse money. So that is when a horse races, and it finishes somewhere, and sometimes it can be as low as 6th or 8th or 10th even, you earn money for racing that horse as the owner. The other way that you earn money is when you sell the horse. You have an asset, you have a horse, you buy it and you sell it. No different than if you have a house or a car in sort of your everyday life. And so those are the two ways that you make money. In almost all cases, the vast majority of horses, if they are going to earn money, most of them are going to earn money on the racing side, not on the selling side. Most horses actually are a depreciating asset. We can talk more about that at another webinar, but that's the fact. So, but let's concentrate and jump right in. And so what I'm going to show you, and I'm going to start sharing my screen for you, and we're going to jump right in to and hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'll minimize this over here. And I'm going to jump right in and show you a tool that you've probably never seen before. And we're gonna jump right in, and this is called Encompass. So Encompass is used at almost all North American tracks. As an owner, when you go to a track, you get an Encompass account, and that account lets you see what amounts to the bookkeeper bank account that you have at that track. This is the live Wasabi Ventures Stables Encompass account. I have logged in, and you see our live account right now. And you can see a bunch of the tracks that we run at right there, and once again, you can see counts that we have, and you can also see if we have a partnership gets its own Encompass account. Now, you might look and say, well, TK, there are tracks that I know you've run at where there are not Encompass, they're not listed there. Well, welcome to the first lesson I'm going to teach you about horse racing today, which is nothing is standard. Let's take a track like Delaware Park. Delaware Park uses the Encompass system, but they don't actually provide owners with access to the Encompass system. So So although they're using the system, they don't pay the extra fee to allow owners to actually log in and see their own accounts. So, so that's just to give you a flavor that nothing in the racing world is consistent. It's going to be a theme all night tonight as we go through this. So I'm going to actually jump in and show you the kind of reporting that you get, and then I'm going to drill down. And once again, we're starting with the revenue side here of horse racing. We're going to get to the expenses in a little bit. So let's go ahead. I'm going to look at a couple different reports from a couple different tracks. So let's start with Pimlico Laurel. So once again, Pimlico and Laurel, they actually have one account. They don't have two separate accounts. By the way, Timonium is also mixed in there if you ever run a Timonium as well. So let's go, and I'm going to go back 1 month so we can see some transactions. I picked a start date of March 1st through April 16th, which is today. I go ahead and I actually generate a statement. So you're going to see here, and you may not be able to see this screen now because it's a pop-up. I just realized that. So I'm going to see. Can people actually see the pop-up, the PDF? Yeah. Okay. All right, so you can see it. I just got confirmation across the room. Michelle's sitting across the room and confirmed that you can see the pop-up. So that's great. So anyway, I'm sharing the pop-up for you here. This is an actual report that you see, and it looks like a bank statement, right? Because it is really like a bank account. And you can see what we have. So you'll notice here lots of transactions. So we have Chocomont running and Smoking Hot Factor running. Couple things that I want to highlight. The first thing I want to highlight for you here is that you'll notice Chocomont ran on March 8th. He earned $600. He earned $300 in overnight as a bonus, and he earned $300 in normal purse. I think he finished 6th in this race. You might say, well, why is that? What's an overnight dirt bonus? Well, Laurel and currently and has been for, I think, the last 4 or 5 months, bonusing everybody that runs. So they're paying all the way down to last place bonuses on races just to get bigger fields. So that's what you'll see. If you actually look up Equibase for this day, it'll show we earned $600 in purse money that day. It does not break out the bonus and the dirt. It just mixes the dirt bonus plus the regular purse. It actually just mixes that all in here. Then, now welcome to the real world of ownership. There are fees mixed in here. And you might say, well, there's a gate fee of $25. Yep. What is a gate fee? Candidly, I have no idea. But there's a law somewhere in Maryland where they charge a gate fee for $25 every time you run. And there is a Lasix fee. Every time you run a horse with Lasix, you're going to pay 25 bucks. There's a PPRP, which is a retirement horse fee, which is $15. And then, once again, we finished 6th, so our jockey earned $75. Now, we're going to look at some other transactions here as we go along, and you'll see different fees. But every time, if you look down at Smoking Hot Factor, same story. We ran 7th and earned $1,120. And that was all the overnight bonus, if you start to see some of these details. And you see the same fees. Now, and once again, only earned $75 there, Angel Cruz, when he ran for us. Now we've got our first win here. We got Broad Expanse winning. So we've got $8,000, a little over $8,000 for the purse. And then this $24.57. Well, what's that $24.57? That's actually a Maryland State bonus program. If we have a Maryland bred who wins in Maryland, you get that kind of bonus. You get 30% bonus is what you get for first, second, and third. But you'll notice Horatio Caramanos gets 10% of the whole fee right there. And the track takes that out almost universally. I don't know any track that doesn't do this. Every jockey gets their fee taken out right then in the account. You never pay the jockey directly. You'll notice double J photo. That's some winner circle photos getting ordered. And then we'll scroll down and you'll see some other things. You'll see payments to Dorothy, Beth Warden, our trainer. Those are actually checks cut. I cut checks directly out of the account so she can get her money for her day rates. We'll look at the expense side on that a little later. I wanted to jump down here though, because this is the first time where there's money going in. This is a claim. Our horse, Smoking Hot Factor here, was claimed $10,000. So that goes right into our account. You can see who claimed it, and it came out of their account into our account. And then the next two lines down there is a horse we claimed, Tis Emily, which is still for sale. There's 2% left of Tis Emily if anybody wants to jump on. But Tis Emily, $5,000, and then there's the sales tax. The tax man never lies. He takes his money. And then you'll just see other transactions as we flow through here. But hopefully you're getting a sense of, this is another horse we claim down here, Shall Try. Look at this. This is another fee. Tattoo. Our horse, Old Line Magic, was tattooed the other day. It's a 3-year-old getting ready to race for the first time. Just got tattooed. Well, guess what? They charge you for that. It's $80. They take it right out of your track account. So hopefully you get the sense there that there's all kinds of fees, all kinds of income coming in. It gets very complicated. What happens in the Wasabi Ventures world, I take these reports at the end of the month. I ship it off to our internal controller, and she puts it in our accounting system to start to make sense of it. I'm going to look at another state just so you can see the difference in fees and how tricky some of this can be. So let's look at Oaklawn. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our account at Oaklawn. It's got a little more money in Oaklawn's account. We've done a little winning there. That's nice. Got some horse claimed. So you'll notice same kind of things, but notice all kinds of different fees. There's a $1 RTCA fee. I think that's a retirement horse fee, by the way. There's a equine retirement fund. Actually, I don't know what the RTCA fee is. It's just $1. There's an horse breeder's fee for $5. These are all legally mandated fees. You can't argue about the fees. Notice that Tori over here has a Lasix fee. Lead Astray has a Lasix fee, $25, but it can be different from state to state. The one thing I wanted to show you, because once again, to show you the world's different in every place. Remember that you saw that there was no money given to the trainer when we won in Laurel. Laurel does not take money out directly and give it to the trainers. Oaklawn does. So we won with Tori's on my mind. Jesse, right there, he got his 10% right away. The jockey got its 10% right away. We didn't do anything for that. That's different. In Laurel, I actually have to send checks to Beth when she wins. So I'm trying to give you the flavor that none of this is consistent. Even when they're using the same system, none of this is consistent. So you have to go in, you have to review it, you have to understand what the fees are, you have to process them on our side. All of that goes into the effect. So anyway, hopefully you're getting a sense here that every track is completely different. Every track has different fees that they attach to every start. And that causes, candidly, a ton of confusion when you're trying to figure out what the actual money that was coming in. Just so we cover some standards, it is pretty standard that trainers get 10% for first, second, third, and fourth. They usually get nothing for less than that. Jockeys usually get a set fee. It depends on the state and the size of the purse. If they don't finish first or second, they usually get some kind of set fee. Can be $125, as you saw. Could be $75. I've seen fees as high as $250, depending on the jurisdiction, and those are just set fees. But they usually get a set percentage for second place, and they usually almost always get 10% for first place. So that factors in when you see a purse and you say, oh, wow, we just won $25,000. Well, that's great. Understand that if we came in first and we won $25,000, $5,000 just went out the door, 10% to the trainer and 10% to the jockey. So 20% goes out the door. I will tell you also that for almost all of our trainers, we also give them 2% bonus on wins. That's not mandated. But what the point of that 2% is that they take that 2% and they share it with all the grooms and hot walkers and other people in the barn who are working really hard to make our horses good, and it's a way to show that they get bonused. So we usually provide a 2% bonus on wins as well. Sometimes called a stable bonus. So anyway, just to give you a sense on some of that. And that's really the revenue side. Once again, we could go through lots of accounts and you could see, but they all have their own set of fees and they all got their own set of transactions. But they, like I said, the good news is most North American tracks all use the Encompass system. So it does make it a little easier from you move from track to track and system to system. Now, getting money out of these accounts is completely different from state to state and track to track. We're not going to talk about that tonight. Just take my word for it that in most places it's a complete pain in the rump. That's really what you should learn from it. Lots of paperwork just to get your own money out of the account in many cases. So, all right. So let's flip over to the expense side. Now, we've already talked a little bit about expenses because you saw expenses even mixed in with the revenues, right? You got jockey bonuses, you got trainer bonuses, you got gate fees. You've got all of that mixed in to the expense side. But let's actually talk and jump over and look at expenses. So on the expense side, there really are, can everybody see my screen at this point? I'm showing a new PDF. Might not be able to share. I'm gonna share with you a new screen. You should be able to see a new screen now. Thanks. So on the expense side, your head would spin by the wild complexity of the different expenses and the different places it comes. You've got blacksmiths, you've got pony fees, you've got vet fees. We're going to actually look at some vet bills tonight. You've got, but the biggest piece is what's known as a day rate. All trainers pay a rate per day that they have a horse in training. Those day rates can range anywhere from as low as, I would say, I've seen as low as $45 in places, all the way to $185 to $225 a day. That's right, up to $225 a day. I have never seen a bill, but I've heard that horses like with Chad Brown can be as high as $225 or even $250 a day. Most of our trainers are in the range, depending on where they're located, because it's more expensive to run in certain places than it is in others, and their overhead is more expensive. I would say are between $50 and $100 per day, depending on where they are and how they're running. So with all that said, I'm going to show you an actual bill. I am not going to talk about what trainer it is because I don't think that's important. But I just want to show you, this is a training bill that I got from a trainer. Notice that it's handwritten. I'm getting a handwritten bill that I get mailed to me, and then I have to look at it. I've got vets mixed in there. I have a blacksmith. I have a pony fee. This is a fee. Pony fees are one of those things that if you're not an owner and really into understanding the business of racing, you have no idea. When you have a horse race the day of a race, that horse that escorts it, that pony that escorts out, is a freelance contractor. And you actually have to pay that person to escort your horse to the gate. And the fees can range anywhere between $25 and $50 for that escort. That's about a minute worth of work for $25 to $50. So maybe 5 minutes worth of work, to be fair. But yes. And now notice this trainer actually puts the pony fee in here. I have other trainers where the pony fees actually get billed directly to me, and it's not part of it. And remember I said to you, look at this. This is a 10% purse winning. This trainer actually works the fee for his bonuses into his invoice. So, and you usually get monthly invoices from trainers. That's kind of what you're seeing here. Now, this trainer also sends to me their their actual vet bills. I can actually see the vet bills that tie up to the fees that are on his page. So he shows you all of this. So there's nothing hidden here. It's all there. So but once again, we're not talking about deep technology here, right? This is a handwritten note being sent to me invoiced. We have other trainers that actually take pictures of invoices and send them to us. So this is a business, this is an industry that hasn't moved forward in technology in many cases. So you're not always dealing with what you would think is normal in the modern billing world. All of this has to be handled, processed. It gets sent to our in-house accounting staff, and then they process it at Wasabi Ventures Stables. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to go ahead and share a new page with you. So let me pull up a new page for you just to show you. I'm going to jump over here in a second. Yeah, let me pull up the right. I just want to make sure I pull up the right invoice for you. Oh, sorry about that. I had the wrong invoice open there for a second. Let me. Thanks for your patience. Oh, darn it. I'm gonna have to give me 10 seconds here, and I'll have to pull up an invoice. I guess I closed the invoice when I show it. So, anybody know a good joke while if you have any questions, by the way, feel free to, once again, you can go ahead and ask any questions that you might have now while I'm pulling this up. All right. I pulled up a new invoice for you. Let me go ahead and reshare. Oh, see, I got some questions. Not yet. Got it. Okay. How many horses does a trainer, Corey asked, how many horses does a trainer have under his training at any given time? What do trainers' expenses look like? Hopefully, let me answer the first question, Corey. As far as the number of horses a trainer has under his care, that his or her care, that number can be all over the place. I mean, literally measured from 1 to hundreds. So there is no rhyme or reason to that. It's all over the place. I can tell you that most of our trainers are hands-on trainers. They don't have tons of assistants who are doing all the work, and they're like administrators. I mean, so our trainers have anywhere between, I would say, from a low number of 10 up to about 20. Honestly, most of them are in sort of that range, 5 to 20, depending on who the trainer is. That's pretty much what we have, and that's honestly what we'll probably always have. I believe in hands-on training. I'm not looking for named trainers who have got a barn with 500 horses in it or 100 horses in it. It's not my thing. I want trainers who are in the barn every day and touch the horses every day. What do the trainers' expenses look like? If you're asking what their business costs are, it's an important thing to understand. Trainers are independent contractors, so they run their own businesses. We contract them to be trainers. If you're asking what their expenses look like, it's everything from workman's comp from their workers to the feed, to the hay, the straw, some of the medicines, bandages, all of that, wraps, equipment. All of that is their expenses. In very rare cases, does that directly get passed on to us? Sometimes it does, depending on what it is, but most of that is built into their thing. Mark asked, what was the 31 times 55 charge? That's a day rate. There's 31 days in a month, and they charge a $55 day rate, Mark. Yeah, that's right. You looked at the invoice and you had no damn idea what that was. Welcome to horse racing invoices. Almost never do the invoices make any sense. It takes a lot of time and energy to interpret them and make sure that you're not getting hosed, candidly. We have very honest trainers. That's not a concern, but I can tell you most situations are something that you got to spend a lot of time on and understand the bills. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you now another document. We're going to look at another vet bill. So this is an actual vet bill. And you're going to see a whole bunch of horses on here. These are, this is actually for a broodmare, but it doesn't really matter for our broodmares. It doesn't really matter because honestly, you're going to see the same, similar types things for a racehorse. But you'll notice lots of line item charges. As you go through it, there's tons and tons of charges, and it usually lists who the horse is and how much they're charging. The interesting thing is that vets often get horses' names wrong. Like, for example, analyze your spending is not really spelled that way. So you gotta sometimes, and they spell them wrong really badly sometimes. But you'll notice line item, the standard visit, a follicle exam. Once again, this is a broodmare exam, but you'll notice all kinds of things, and you'll say a biosponge paste. What the heck is a biosponge paste? A probiotic wise 60 cc's with 4 servings. It's $8.50. A racing bill will have tons of charges like this. I would tell you one of the things to learn is that every trainer is different, and the size of their vet bill tells you a lot about how they train. I will not mention a trainer by name, but when we first started racing, we worked with a trainer where the vet bill every single month for every single horse, even if it was completely healthy, was $750 to $1,000 per month. Why? Because the vet lived at the barn, and that trainer was injecting and poking and prodding and doing all kinds of stuff all the time to the horse. Nothing illegal, I want to be very clear, but that they were heavy on the vet bill. If you go all the way to the opposite end of the extreme, we have trainers that are $350 per month per horse, and are very judicious on when they use vet bills. They only use it in very fastidious type of ways. So it's you learn a lot by a trainer by what the vet bills look like as well. Once again, that doesn't mean one's shady and one's not. It just shows you a lot about how they train. I think we got a question. So, yeah. So, call to post, $350 a month. Yeah, which is a great question about bills. What I tell people is that you can expect a horse in training if nothing goes wrong and you are not in New York, because the number will be even higher, is that you should expect $3,000 a month as a minimum. That's the number you should expect. If you can get away with $2,500 sometimes, that's fantastic. But understand that on average, you're going to spend $3,000 per month per horse for a horse in training with any kind of reputable trainer. So, yeah. So as you can see, vet bills can be complicated. There's all kinds of things in here. And if a vet bill is out of the ordinary, I'll ask. If I look at every single vet bill when it comes in, and I ask if there's anything unusual. I say, well, what is that? What was this chemistry screen that was done on March 12th? I don't know what that was. What did we test for? That's perfectly normal to ask. I would ask the trainer first or the barn manager if there was anything unusual. But most of the time, everything seems in order. But it takes time to review every vet bill. We have almost 40 horses, I believe now, and we get vet bills from probably 9 or 10 different vet services, and every single bill looks differently. It takes a lot of time to do all that work, is what I will tell you. And it's double done by myself first, and then I send it to an accounting staff who actually reviews it after that. So anyway, it's a real process, and so that gives you a sense of the expenses, right? We looked at a couple different training bills. We looked at a vet bill. We've looked at a training bill that had vet bills. We've looked at all the expenses on the other side. I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm actually going to go over and actually jump in and now talk a little bit about Wasabi Ventures specifically. I want to give an overview of expenses and revenues in general, but I'm now going to go ahead and share my current browser for you, and hopefully everybody can see my screen. So at Wasabi Ventures, we've built a custom platform for managing the stable. This is 100% proprietary, built from the ground up software. This is not software that I bought and I'm using. We actually build it every single day with our in-house team, with our own software engineers. So, which is why we have a mobile app. I don't know anybody else that has a mobile app. We have like I said, a fairly extensive data-driven system with a lot of automations. I don't know anybody else that does that. So what you see in front of you right now is the dashboard that you see if you are a club member. So this is me. I logged in as myself and gave myself a few horses, which is nice of me to give myself some horses. But I'm actually going to look, and you can see I have 5 horses. I own 6 total percent. I've had 3 wins. I've been in the money 18 times, and my horses have earned $1,100 for me. So that 6% represents, of the purses earned. But you can see all of that right here, and I can look at the horses that I own, and I can pull up in real time what the horse currently is doing financially. Now, there's a delay, probably about 30 days, but at any time I can pull up and I can pull a report. So this is a live horse we have, Uweri Sky, who's currently racing for us, and I'm going to actually pull up the financials of Uweri Sky. And we have built a system so you can look, I own 1% of the horse. That was the cost. That's what I paid. That's the purse income for the horse so far. That's its racing revenue. Here are its expenses, and we break it down into categories as well as we can. So you got vanning expenses and insurance and training bonuses and training expenses. For our system, what we do, we take all of those, we take fees like those gate fees and all of that, and that all goes in as training expenses, just to be clear, just so that you don't have infinite number of categories to make your reports unreadable. But Uweri has earned $337.62 more than he's cost at this point. And he's getting ready to go into turf season here. So we think he's got a win or 2 coming. And so we got a little excitement, and hopefully he's a profitable horse. But, today he's at least cash flow neutral, not counting his cost. So this is what a settlement sheet looks like, and you can see real time. So if I go back to my dashboard, other things, financial tools that we've built that are built into our system, we actually have a financial analysis tool where I can look at my active horses and the expenses and the proceeds of them. I can look at my active broodmares. Once again, the broodmare program is a different program, but we built a system for managing that. And I can see my inactive horses that I've owned and have been claimed away or retired or whatever the case is. So you can actually see, and I'm going to go back to my dashboard because I want to show you Nancy R., who's a retired horse for us. She won just over $87,000 with us. She was a $10,000 claim. We sold or retired her. She actually just yesterday left to be a hunter jumper. We put her in a retirement program, and she left yesterday to be a hunter jumper. And so we always take care of the animals when we retire them. But she had $87,000 in purse money, $61,000 in expense, $25,000 in profit. And although we had to give her away at the end, she was still a profitable horse. Besides the fact of giving us almost over a year of fun and excitement, she actually returned more money than her cost was. So, and you can see all of that in our system. In our program for our racehorses, for those of you who are not in, we do not charge any of the ongoing expenses. You do not get quarterly bills. You do not get monthly bills. We settle up at the end. with the pluses and the minuses. And if the horse lost money, we eat the losses. I eat the losses. I don't pass any of that loss beyond your original purchase of the horse, which is only the actual purchase price of the horse. I don't pass anything else on to you. All of the other, if it loses money, I eat the loss above and beyond the initial cost. And if it returns money, we return the money to you. So you get fun and excitement, plus a chance of maybe getting a few dollars back. I can tell you over the history of our program, almost 50% of our claimed horses have been profitable horses. So we've been pretty good at our claiming, and not bad at some of our purchases either. We got one running in a stakes race on Saturday, which will really skew the number on how profitable horses can be if everything goes well. Anyway, that was sort of what I wanted to show tonight. Hopefully you got a flavor for both that there are a lot of expenses here that are not obvious. There are a lot of expenses, period, to managing and running and owning a horse, and that we try at Wasabi to make it simple, clean, and transparent. We try to make it as transparent and easy as possible. So I'm happy to answer any questions about expenses or our program and how we manage them. I'm happy to do that now. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat button, or I will count to 5 and I'll open up the voice, and we can hear people talking. If you, yeah, I thought I answered all the questions in chat. Yeah, I think I answered all the questions that I see in chat. Not missing any. All right, I'm going to count to. Oh, now I got some questions popping up. I'll do those first. Stacy asked, any plans to get into Trotter Pacer? It's not really on the short list to do that anytime soon. It's a really different game. It's totally different people, and it would take a whole different level of expertise that I don't currently have. I have been approached by people that run Trotter and Pacer programs, and I'm happy to help them set it up and set up what we do for them to run it themselves. But not really anytime plans. Corey asked, can you talk a little bit more about the different types of races and the different purses available? Sure. They're really, I would say, I'm just going to break it into 2 main buckets to keep it simple tonight. There are claiming races and there are allowance/stakes races. Allowance/stakes races means that the horses are not up for claiming, and they tend to have purses that are higher than claiming races. Doesn't always have to be that way. And the purses can range all over the place depending on the track. You can have claiming races where the purses are as low as I'm telling you right now, as low as $5,000 at some tracks. You literally cannot run a racehorse and be profitable. You have to own the horse, be the trainer. At places like Mountaineer, places out west, you can't be an owner and do this. It's not possible. Only you have to be the trainer as well and run your own horses. And allowance races are higher. I mean, we're in a stakes race on Saturday where the purse is $125,000, 60% of which will go to the winner. And then there's a decreasing from second through, whatever. But that's a general, there's really a broad range. It's very hard to give it. I will tell you, if you look at any condition book in any state, you can see what the purses are at levels. They make it very transparent. So there's nothing big sneaky there. If you put yourself in a $10,000 claiming race, you know exactly what the purse is going to be. So Mark asked, On an average year, how many horses are available for purchase? As many as my wife will let me do. No, just that was a joke. She's sitting across the room and she loves when I do that. Mark, I don't really go in with a set number. Honestly, first of all, we're a 2-year-old operation. So when I find horses that I like, I claim them. When I find horses that I like at auction, I buy them. This is an important point about Wasabi Ventures Stables. We don't buy horses to sell them. We're not a syndication where we sell 100% of the horse. I always retain at least 20% of the horse. I sell up to 80% and I retain 20%. I'm not buying horses just to sell them out so I can make money. Well, because candidly, I can't make money in our model by selling horses. I'm selling the horse at cost. I'm training the horse at cost. There's no money to be made by selling the horse. So it's an important thing to understand for 2 aspects. One, that I just explained, and 2, I'm in the boat rowing with you. If I claim a horse, I'm owning 20% of that horse. If it was a bad claim, guess what? I'm losing 20% just along with you losing whatever you put in on your 1% or 3% or whatever you might buy in for. So the number of horses that we have I would say on average, it goes up and down, but in any given month, we're probably claiming between 3 and 5 horses. So extrapolate that out, there will be 50 new horses in a year, is my guess. Mark also asked, did I read that we have, you don't actually own a percentage of the horse? That's correct. There are no tax forms. It's long and complicated, but the fact is that you, even when you buy a percentage of the horse with us, you actually don't own a percentage of the horse. You own an entertainment value equal to a percentage of the horse. It's a subtle legal difference, but you don't physically own the entity, so I can structure this in a different way that allows more flexibility. So hopefully that answered it. It's all, Wasabi Venture Stables is all about getting new owners and bringing new fans and bringing people that could not necessarily be an owner, all the experience that you can have for being an owner without all of the headache. That's what it's all about. I see Don's answering questions about mules, so I'm going to let that go. Don's in control there. Hopefully, Corey, that answered your question, at least as well as I could. Any other questions for tonight on written form? I'm going to give everyone, I'm going to pull up the participants, and I am going to unmute everyone at the count of 3. So if you are somewhere loud, if you have a barking dog, if you have a screaming kid, now is the time to muzzle it. And if not muzzle it, mute yourself as soon as I unmute you. So 1, 2, 3, unmuting everyone. All right, I've unmuted everyone. So if anyone wants to ask a question verbally and you didn't want to type it, I'm happy to take questions from folks.
Question from Jerry Combe.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi. You didn't talk about your $99 fee. I assume that's for your infrastructure and your IT team and all of that?
Yes, sir. It's a good question, and I'm going to mute everybody and then unmute people in a second. Just so there's some background noise. Yes, sir. So every racing horse that we have, so we have multiple programs. So once again, I want to complicate things. We have breeding programs, which are a totally different program. They're structured completely differently. We have racing programs. Someday we may even have stallion programs. But today, and I'm only talking about racing programs tonight. In our racing program, per horse, not per purchase, per horse, we charge a $99 admin fee. That $99 admin fee covers all kinds of incidental expenses, including licensing and all kinds of research expenses and travel and everything you could possibly imagine, including when we lose money. It's really trying to help offset some of that by staggering that fee over time. Some of our infrastructure fees get allocated over. Like, for example, I have accounting expenses and tax expenses. Those actually get prorated across active horses. It comes out to usually about $1 a month per horse. So it's very small money, but it does get mixed in and prorated across, but it's very, very small money. I can tell you with a very clear conscience that this is not a program. This is not in any way built to make money. I am not trying to make money off the backs of our club members. Hopefully you see some of the expenses and you understand that it's not possible. Even if we sell a horse out, I mean, we sold a horse out today, Shall Try, that we had claimed, and it sold out very quickly. And we had about 30 members. That's who bought in. So that's $3,000. That $3,000 then goes across and covers all kinds of expenses, prorated, including if that horse loses money, it helps to offset some of those losses. That's why we have the $99 fee. The other reason, candidly, that I do the $99 fee is that I think it's important to understand at some level that there is a cost to doing this. I try to make this as simple and clean as I can, but at some level, I have to. Being a racing owner is also understanding that there is an expense to this excitement. Hopefully that answered your question, Jerry. But that is correct, and it's just $99 per horse, not per transaction. So if you buy 1%, you decide a little later you want to buy another percent, you don't pay another $99 fee. You just pay it one time per horse. Just one other thing to be clear, we also give plenty of that $99 back. If you buy 5 horses, you get $25 back on your next purchase of a horse. So we try to give most of the money back, candidly. That even on the $99 fee. If you have a horse that returns money, if you take that money back out as a credit, we give a $20 fee on top of that. So all that goes into the $99. I can tell you even if you're doing a lot of horses in a year, that $99 fee, at least probably a third of that comes back to you in other benefits directly. So anyway, hopefully that helps and makes sense for you. I can tell you, me personally, all my family members that work, we get paid absolutely zero to do this. Not a dime have I gotten paid to do this. And Michelle just gave me the look. Of course, she doesn't get paid at all for doing this. You got to wonder why she married me, right? I understand that too. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to unmute everyone again and give more people a chance to ask questions verbally. 1, 2, 3. Any other questions verbally from folks?
Jerry Combe again, if nobody else.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've noticed that vet fees, vet expenses, and farrier expenses at tracks are higher than they are on a farm or anywhere else I've been. Do you have a good idea about why that is?
Most of the time, yes. So that's a great question, actually. I will, and I'll mute folks again. The farrier expenses at a track are more expensive for 3 reasons. 1, almost all tracks are monopolized by one or two farriers. So there's less competition than, let's say you just have a farm out there and you got a paint or something like that. That's a pet or something, where your farrier maybe it's a very different situation. Two, horses are athletes, right? Think about a professional athlete. Think about how expensive their shoes are and how many pairs of shoes they go through compared to other horses. So that expense tends to go up. So you combine those two things. But there's an old saying in horse racing: no foot, no racehorse. And so a good farrier is worth his weight in gold. So honestly, they're not, in the grand scheme of things, paying $150 a month to a farrier. That's a heck of a lot cheaper than the alternative problems that can come with it. The short answer, my friend, is that there really are no places to deeply cut corners and and think you're going to save your way to being efficient in the horse racing business. You can be smart and not squander money, but you're going to have a hard time thinking you're going to be efficient and save money. Hopefully that answered your question, Jerry. Unmuting again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, any other questions?
I've got one more.
Okay, Jerry is our designated question person for the night. Go ahead, Jerry.
All right. Well, I've had trainers who do some of their own exercise riding, and you said you like trainers that have hands-on. I kind of like some of that idea.
Yep.
Do you have any of your trainers, or what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do like it. I do like it. I can tell you 1, 2, 3. I'll mute everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every single one of our trainers, except for one that we currently have, was an exercise trainer at some point. 2 of them still exercise every day. Jesse Cruz and Johnny Ortiz exercise horses every single day and get on them. Beth Wharton used to exercise, but she doesn't anymore. Ronnie Spatz, I believe, exercised horses in the very beginning, and he does not. Mark Salvaggio was actually a professional trainer. He was a professional jockey. He was an afternoon jockey. But he does not exercise at all anymore. He's actually he doesn't even get on a horse anymore. He's quite scared of getting on a horse, which is crazy for a guy who made his living as a jockey. But almost all of our trainers were exercise jockeys at some point or still are. So I like it. I think they have a different sense. I think they can also educate their exercise jockeys in a different way, and they know what to expect. I can tell you Jesse Cruz talks all the time about how he feels very comfortable as an exercise jockey, and he knows, coming from with his training hat on, exactly what he wants from an exercise jockey, and can speak very clearly to them when he's not doing the actual exercising. But he exercises every day. He rode Trapped today. He was up on Trapped today, our stakes horse. Yeah, I like it a lot, as a matter of fact. All right. I'm going to try to wrap this up in the next 4 minutes, so I'm going to unmute one more time for questions. 1, 2, 3. Everyone is now unmuted. And does anybody have a question? Okay. Well, hopefully that was a great session for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody as I wrap it up. Thanks everybody for coming tonight. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned some things and saw some things that you may not have even known existed. And, if you got questions and you think of them later, feel free to email me. For the club members, get on the Slack channel and send questions. I'm happy to answer them at any point. Have a great night, and I'm going to go find some dinner. Thank you.